I know that you're thinking you want to be better safe than sorry, but sometimes carrying a large amount of cash leaves you better sorry than safe. That's not a thing, but you get what I'm saying. Hey, it's Tess. Welcome to Wander Wealthy. I'm coming at you from southern Italy on holiday as I spend 2 months in this beautiful country, and
some post-beach / lunch and then napping hair, so apologies.
But I'm on vacation. Today I want to share with you my top 15 travel mistakes for new travelers, the noobs. These are mistakes that I have personally made myself, and I want you to be able to avoid them so you don't have to go through all of the shenanigans that I had to go through during my early days of travel. Before I dive into my 15 travel mistakes, I just want to say make sure you give this video a thumbs up. It really helps my channel, and hit the subscribe button so you can hang out with me more. First, we're going to start with the most common mistakes you'll make before the trip, and that is with packing. The number one mistake that you can make is not checking your passport expiration date. This is specifically for traveling internationally, but a lot of countries may not let you in their country if your passport expires within the next 2 to 6 months. I know it seems crazy if your passport doesn't expire for 6 months and you're going only on a 2-week trip, but there are rules and policies. So make sure you check first your expiration date, then the policy on the countries that you will be entering, even if it is just entering to pass through. If you need to get your passport updated, you want to have at least 6 weeks for this. Otherwise, you're going to be paying boatloads of money like I did to get it expedited. The second travel mistake you can make is overpacking. You all know that I am a semi-professional packer. I can pack up to 3 weeks of travel essentials in a carry-on suitcase. If you want to check out the video on how I do my minimalism packing, you can click up here. But I didn't always used to be that way, and I remember lugging very heavy, really annoying size and shape suitcases around on my travel adventures, and it's just not fun. Number 3, not bringing the medications that you need and extra medications that you need. I have asthma, so I always need to have my inhaler on hand. I use this bad boy when I am traveling, especially because I'm usually pretty active, and my asthma gets worse when I'm doing adventurous active activities and I'm in a new climate. In the rare instance that this bad boy runs out, I need to have another one. To be safe, always pack a spare set of your medications, and don't forget your first set. Number 4 is not packing comfortable shoes. Now, I know there are some exceptions to this rule, especially if you're going somewhere and you know there's a specific occasion like a wedding or a birthday where you need to wear your high heels, but I'm gonna be honest with you, when you're traveling, you're gonna be out walking around all day, exploring new things, visiting museums, and you're gonna wish you had comfortable shoes with you. If you buy a new pair of flats that look comfortable, make sure you wear them for at least a week to either break them in or test their comfortableness to make sure that you are not dying with blisters and sore feet, because it is the worst as a traveler if you can't walk anywhere. Number 5 is forgetting your power cords and or adapters. As you all know, I am not perfect, and I even made this mistake during this transition from North Italy to Southern Italy. I did not bring my adapter with me, so we had to go out and buy one. However, you want to avoid having to go buy yourself another adapter as much as possible, so just don't forget it like I did. Another thing that is commonly forgotten in hotels, Airbnbs, and other accommodations are power cords. I think the most commonly lost power cords are the ones for your cell phone. A little hack: if you do forget your power cord at your last accommodation, you can always go to the front desk of the hotel that you're staying at and see if they have extra, because they most likely do. But to avoid, again, having to buy the horrendously expensive power cords that you might have for your technology or equipment, just always make sure you have it on that little checklist before you leave wherever you're staying. Now that we've gotten kind of the packing mistakes out of the way, mistakes 6 through 8 are going to be more focused on money and monetary items. Number 6 is not calling your bank or your credit card company and telling them that you're traveling. I can promise you that your banks are looking out for you, so if they see that you're spending money in a foreign country, they're gonna raise some red flags and probably cancel or close down your credit card. You don't want that to happen if you actually are in that country. Nowadays, you can often typically enter your travel dates and location wherever that online portal is that you make your payments through. You can usually do it online or through an automated phone system, so make sure you contact your bank to let them know that you are going on the road. Number 7 is not knowing your data plan or where you can get really great Wi-Fi. You always want to know when and where and how you can be connected, and you don't want to be hit with any hidden or outlandish fees while you are traveling abroad. Make sure that you call your phone company to know what your data plan is, or if there's a really great affordable plan for you, so you can always be connected. But another pro tip is that Wi-Fi is pretty much everywhere now in this day and age that we live in. If you don't want to have to pay for data while you are traveling, make sure you kind of plan out where you can get Wi-Fi and be connected, or plan out all of your routes before you leave wherever you're staying for the day. Number 8 is traveling without cash in the country's currency and not knowing where you can get cash in the country's currency. Now, I know a lot of people do exchanges before they leave, but that can often be expensive. So make sure you do your research. I've found that with some of the banks that I use, it's more affordable to travel to the country and then use an ATM in that country that is secured and with a bank outside of the airport in order to get cash. Let me repeat that. You get to the country and you leave the airport. When you find a regional or a national bank in that country, then you go use the ATM on your card at that ATM machine, making sure that it is also secure. Mistakes 9 through 12 are going to now be about the actual en route transportation or planning of that time. Number 9 is having really short connections when you are traveling internationally and even domestically. If you have a layover in your flight plan, or even need to transition from one train or one bus to another train or bus or airline, you need to make sure that you leave yourself enough time. Rule of thumb is to have at least 2 hours for connection when I am doing an international flight, because you want to make sure that you have time for customs and additional security, having at least an hour if you are traveling domestically. This will reduce your anxiety and help you not miss any connecting flights. Number 10 is overscheduling or overcommitting yourself when you are traveling. I know that you probably have a ton of places that you want to see in the new country or the new state that you are in. Over planning your stay will leave you closed off to new spontaneous opportunities, which I am totally for. When you are planning out your stay, make a couple days dedicated to the things that you know you absolutely need to see before you leave this location, and then leave a couple of buffer days open to spontaneous adventures. Number 11 is to know how to get from the airport to your accommodation. Often when you are booking your accommodation, there should be something on the site that tells you how to get from the airport or the train station to the accommodation. If there's not, make sure that you do your research, because there's usually a cheaper option than the godforsaken taxi system. If you have to take a taxi, make sure that you negotiate with the driver before you get in the taxi on what the price is going to be to get to your location. Otherwise, ask them to turn on the meter and make sure you keep your eye on the meter so you don't pay an arm and a leg to get to your accommodation. There should be a bus or some sort of train that could get you from the airport or the train station to the city center and close to the accommodation that you are staying at, and this would ideally save you probably $30 to $50. Number 12 is not checking the public transportation schedules and routes of the city that you are in. You always want to make sure that you do this for buses and trains or even ferry boats before you leave your accommodation for the day. A lot of trains or buses or even boats might end their last route at 7 p.m. and then you're stuck wherever you were because you thought maybe they went until midnight or they went all night, and now you have no way of getting home except for maybe taking a really, really overpriced taxi ride. And finally, 13 through 15, the mistakes are going to be all about the exploration that you're going to do as you are traveling. 13 is not understanding tipping etiquette. In many countries, tipping isn't even really a thing, or it is always wrapped into the bill. Being an American, we love to tip for everything. This isn't always the case in every other country. So make sure you do your research on what the tipping etiquette is in the country that you are traveling in. My favorite thing is to look on Pinterest and look at these charts. They always show you some of the common phrases and foods to eat, and also always have the tipping etiquette on there, and they are just my absolute favorite. Number 14 is eating at expensive touristy restaurants. You're most likely going to be going to some really cool attractions that happen to be tourist attractions, and well, they usually have restaurants nearby because they know that tourists do a lot of walking and exploring, so they're going to get hungry. What they also do is jack up their prices and don't always serve the best food. Sometimes they even serve American food. My best recommendation is to venture out away from the tourist area and try to find a little hole-in-the-wall restaurant. You can always use Yelp or TripAdvisor to see if people have done the same, kind of use the map feature and zoom into a place away from the touristy spot, because you're not only going to probably find better food there, but you'll also find much, much cheaper food. And finally, number 15 is always taking the biggest bargain. Now, I know my channel is a personal finance, travel, and development channel, so of course we're always talking about money and finance and sometimes frugal living and sometimes how to save money, but when you're traveling, it's not always the best idea to take the cheapest option. You need to consider your safety, your location, and just your overall happiness. I mean, you've already paid probably a lot of money or worked really hard to figure out a way to get to this location. And yes, there are definitely really great affordable accommodations or affordable places to eat, but you also want to consider the value that you're getting out of it. So make sure that you do your research, that you're not ending up in a sketchy location, or you're not eating bad food, or you're not buying really poorly made or not even authentic gifts and souvenirs. And just know that sometimes it's better to pay a little bit more to ensure you're getting the true value and experience out of the deal. And those are my 15 travel mistakes, equipped with some really great tips, I would say, that I personally have made in my many years of travel, and I hope that I can help you avoid them and learn something to help you feel more prepared, whether this is your first or even if it's your 15th time traveling. If you have a mistake that you've made, I'd love to hear about it. Make sure you post it down in the comments below, and don't forget to join our Wander Wealthy private community to continue the conversation. We're hanging out over on Facebook. Go to www.wanderwealthy.com/FB. I have an awesome welcome video for you there so you learn how to sign up. And by the way, if you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. It really helps my channel, and make sure you subscribe because I want you to be notified as I publish more videos on a weekly basis. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Now go and wander wealthy.